So this is a statue of a young boy and an older man, and it's on the corner of 21st Street and 1st Avenue in Saskatoon. So why is it there? Well, it's there in relation to a meeting that supposedly took place between John Diefenbaker and Sir Wilfrid Laurier. And did that meeting actually take place? Well, there's a statue of it, so you'd think, well, it probably did. So I'm going to look at the three possibilities of whether or not this actually took place. Now, it either did not take place, it took place but not the way it was described, it took place exactly as it described. So here are the details. In 1910, Sir Wilfrid Laurier is doing a tour of the Canadian West a year before the next election. At the same time, John Diefenbaker is selling newspapers in Saskatoon, and the two meet. So the story that John Diefenbaker tells is that he starts speaking with the Prime Minister for between 10 minutes and half an hour before finally saying, "I'm sorry, Mr. Prime Minister, but I have to get back to work." Now, if this seems kind of like a tall tale, that's because it probably is. If it did happen, and I do lean towards the fact that it might have actually happened. Sir Wilfrid Laurier did tour the West in 1910. John Diefenbaker did live in Saskatoon for a time, and there's a possibility the two actually could have met. But I don't believe the details. Now, John Diefenbaker was known as somebody who could tell a tall tale, and he told this in the 1963 election campaign. I don't think John Diefenbaker would have held on to this and not told anybody about it for 53 years. It just doesn't fit with his personality. In fact, I looked at his entire life in my podcast episode about him on my podcast From John to Justin, so I encourage you to check that out. So what I think happened was maybe the two did actually meet. But there's no way the Prime Minister of Canada is going to stand there for half an hour listening to a kid talk to him about politics, the state of Canada, all of that. There's no way. If they met, it was a brief interaction, maybe a few words. Not the way that John Diefenbaker described it. I don't think that happened at all. I think John Diefenbaker may have inflated it a bit. It was 1963. His government had gone from a massive majority to a minority government, and he saw Lester B. Pearson approaching, and he probably wanted to connect himself with a famous and well-respected prime minister from the past. So my feeling is, maybe it did happen, but not as described. But it makes a cool story, and there is the statue there. It was donated in 1990 by the Saskatoon Star Phoenix, and it makes for a little good photo op. But as with many tales from the past, it's probably not quite true. So that's the story of apparently John Diefenbaker meeting Sir Wilfrid Laurier and talking his ear off about Canada for half an hour, which, as I just said, most likely didn't happen. But they could have met. Makes a great story.